Hey there, my traveling Pisces peeps.
Hey fam, what's good?
All right, so it is March. Do you know what that means?
What does that mean?
It is time for us to do our two-year full-time RV living update.
It's been 2 years already.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But we've got some good news and some bad news.
What's the good news?
The good news is we just celebrated our birthdays, and we did it in true Piscean form at the beach.
Yes, we did. But what's the bad news?
Honestly, we can't take living in our RV anymore. We've had it. We are ready to quit.
Right. So after living in our Class C RV for the last 2 years and now being stationary, we realized that it just wasn't a good fit for us.
Yeah, it really sucks. Oh, but we've got some other good news though. Let's tell you that.
What's the other good news?
We decided to upgrade to another RV that better suits our needs.
Yes. So we decided to go with a fifth wheel instead of the Class C because we figured we needed more space.
But before we get into what our new RV is, why don't we go ahead and recap this past year?
Okay.
We started out 2020 in San Diego, where Dimitri and my mom flew in to visit with us.
While we were in San Diego, we had a great time visiting our friends Nathan and Tessie and their family.
Oh, and Papa Drew. Then once the family flew back to Florida, we ended up traveling from San Diego to Galveston for our upcoming cruise.
But that's where everything came to a standstill. Cruises were canceled and everything went into lockdown. But luckily, I took a position working at an RV park in Galveston.
After a few months in Texas, it seemed like things were getting back to normal and traveling was going to open back up.
So it seemed.
So we decided to get on the road and travel with our friends Mark and Janelle back to the West Coast.
We learned how to navigate full-time living during a pandemic.
We stayed safe by getting off the beaten path and exploring some really cool places where there weren't lots of people. Once we got to Oregon, Dimitri decided to join us on the road again. He had been laid off from his job due to the pandemic, so he flew out and met us in Oregon.
We had a great time exploring the Pacific Northwest, but then his job called him and he had to fly home.
At this time, we realized that the world really wasn't going to bounce back from this as quickly as everyone had thought. So we found a place to stay stationary, and Aaron accepted a work camp job at a marina on Lake Berryessa in Napa, California.
And in true 2020 fashion, nothing went as planned. After only 9 days, we were evacuated due to the wildfires.
So we hightailed it from California to Virginia in record time. We were outrunning a freak snowstorm in Colorado and in Utah. So we literally drove 11 and a half hours in one day. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
But it did help us to get to Virginia a lot faster.
Virginia, why you ask? Well, my cousin was gracious enough to let us stay in his driveway, even going as far as letting us install a breaker on the side of his house because we had no idea how long we would be stationary.
We ended up there for several months, but due to the upcoming winter, we were getting kind of nervous about where were we going to be during the winter months and it being cold in Virginia.
Yeah, we didn't want to be stuck in Virginia for the winter. But luckily, as fate would have it.
Yep. Aaron received a great offer.
Yeah. So the marina that I worked at previously called me and offered me a position working as the manager of the marina.
So that worked out perfectly for us. But again, we found ourselves going back to Cali.
Along the way, we saw firsthand how cities have been affected by COVID.
We made it to the marina though, and we settled in to a gorgeous spot overlooking the lake. And we figured we're going to stay here, until the world gets back to
somewhat normal.
Or
whatever the new normal is.
Right. And you can actually get out and travel and enjoy life a little. So, not sure how long we're going to be here, but we've got a great place to stay stationary for a while.
There's lots to explore locally, so we plan on exploring the area and showcasing those places in future videos.
That's right. There's lots to do up the coastline, Northern California, into Oregon, Washington State. So we're going to be taking lots of little mini trips and getting out and exploring and seeing what the area has to offer.
Oh, so Dimitri interviewed for a position here at the Marina, and he was hired as well.
Man, he must have a good boss.
Of course, he has a really good boss.
Seriously, though, he didn't interview with Aaron. He did have to go through the interview process and was interviewed by another one of the managers here at the Marina. But yeah, so now he's going to be working down as a dockhand. Since we were in the market for a new tow vehicle, and I had to pick up Dimitri, I flew back to Florida, and we found a Ford truck that fit our needs. So I went ahead and purchased that, and then Dimitri and I drove from Florida back to Cali. Whew, that was a trip. We got here in, 6 days?
Yeah, it was pretty fast.
6 days, yep. But we got back, Dimitri settled in and started working and living his best life.
Right. However, we soon noticed really quick that the three of us in that RV was really tight. Since we were stationary. When we were traveling, it didn't make that much of, it wasn't that much of a big deal. But being stationary, it was tight.
Yeah, we outgrew the Class C. I mean, we loved it, and it really did its job when we were traveling these past 2 years. We really enjoyed it. But looking back, hindsight is 2020. Oh gosh, 2020. I'm so glad we're out of 2020. But there were things that we loved about it, and then there were things that we just, over time learned that, we really would have needed something different.
Right. We started searching for a fifth wheel that offered more room, had a larger kitchen, and a bunkhouse.
There were lots of models for us to choose from, but we found the best one that fits our needs.
So, without further ado, meet our new house on wheels, and a full tour of that is coming soon.
Yep, and we will be showing a video of what we did to choose our new RV.
Well, that wraps up our crazy 2-year update. What has your past year looked like? Leave us a comment below.
And until next time,
Ciao for now.